All right. So I did not think I was going to be making another one of these this quickly. Um, but last night we had quite the episode, and so I got out of work at 5 o'clock. Started on my way home, and I always give a call home just to see how things are going. Um, and so I call, and my mother answers, and all I could hear is screaming in the background, screaming and crying and craziness. Which usually, that's when Gavin has a meltdown. That's where we are. So I hurried to get home. I get home, and my wife has Gavin on the floor trying to keep him down because he's very strong, and he has no issues with just punching people and kicking people and biting people and just trying to hurt you when he gets into this meltdown mode. Um, so I got there, and it was pretty bad. So I get in, I take him upstairs, I get him up to his room, and usually when I get around, he brings it down a little bit because now he knows that somebody there is stronger than him, and he's not gonna be able to overpower me at this point. Um, so he still takes swings at me. He still tries to hurt me. But we got him in his room, and I go downstairs and I try to figure out what happened, and it's also something that very common for him. It's the black and white of everything. He was having a conversation with one of his little friends, a friend that came over the house, and they were talking about an activity that Gavin does outside of school or whatever, and due to the age group, at a certain age you're in this group, and a certain age you're in this group, and the little girl was adamant she was going to be in Gavin's group, and he's like, no, you can't do that because you have to be my age to be in that group, and she was insistent, and but Gavin doesn't get that, and he's like, no, it's like in his head, you're not getting it. The rule is the rule, and so he got mad, started yelling at her, and made her cry. So my wife told him that wasn't nice, and you get him in the house, you try to do whatever you can. It's like, calm down, relax. You need to say you're sorry, and he just lost it because in his head, that rule is it. There is no other way. And so it just went on from there, and he took swings at my wife, swings at grandma, bit grandma, bit my wife, and he's so big and so strong now that it's very hard for them to control the situation. um, but a few other things along with the black and white, just a couple small stories with it. um, One day, Natalie's mother, my wife's mother, was bringing the kids here to me at work, and she pulled into the employee parking lot waiting for me to come out, and Gavin told her, no, you can't park here, this is the employee parking lot. And Natalie's mother was, no, it's all right, we're just waiting next to Daddy's truck, he's just going to come out and we're going to switch you right over into his truck. But no, 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 there you go, that's the rule, you can't park here. So he was getting very upset. So she moved and she pulled over to another entrance, and she let him come into the building to find me. He knows where I am, so he just comes into the building. But he comes in and he's crying, and he's just like so upset over the whole fact that Mammy parked in the employee parking lot, and that is against the rules. You don't do that. But luckily, that time, I was able to calm him down and just like, let's get outside. There's no need to be upset. Let's just, yeah, that the rule is the rule, but it's also, with kids at school, if they say something to Gavin, he'll take it as the, well, something about the, oh boy, what could it be? Could be anything. But he'll come home and say, well, this is what so-and-so said. If it's something he's never heard before. So, but it's the first time he heard it, so it has to be true. And you try to tell him, no, that's not the case. When he gets so upset and twisted and bent, and he'd throw himself on the floor and roll around, and it's like, no, so-and-so said, so it has to be. And you try to explain that one. So now it's like I have to take how much time? How many hours is this going to take me to try to tell him that that's not it. That's not right. Your friend was, maybe they don't know, or maybe they're just playing with you. It's not their fault that you don't process it the way that most people do. One other thing with friends is like, if he goes over to someone's house and asks a friend to come play. So he'll knock on the door. Someone will come to the door, and the parent will come to the door and say, oh no, so-and-so's busy, and maybe they'll come out after dinner. Maybe they can play after dinner. Okay. No, he doesn't get maybe. He doesn't get that, no, you know what, really that parent was probably just being nice, and they're not coming out after. But Gavin would go home and sit on the porch or on the front steps and wait, because they said they were coming. No, they said maybe they were coming. No, they're coming. All right. Hours he would sit there, and I would try to get him inside. And it's like, I know people don't, other parents, they don't understand that, when you say maybe to him, oh, so that means they're coming. No, and that kid would sit on the porch and wait and wait and wait, and then he'd get upset and start crying. And it's just one of those things. That whole black and white, you're not getting it. But last night, all bad. Yep. Mama and Grandma got bruises and bite marks, and that carried on for hours afterwards. Even after I got there, he was still upstairs crying and screaming and carrying on, because he can't shut it off. He just can't shut it off. So, but all right. I got to get to work. See ya.